does. And okay, Arashi, yesterday, when me and Nicer were casting for some of the games, we saw the Brody ban in the first phase. And I was already talking, I was hyping the Brody up right after the patch. I was saying, all right, Brody's busted. I've been spamming the heck out of Brody. I'm an official SPA, Arashi. You know what that means?
What is that?
I'm an official Sky Piercer abuser, bro, and I play the Brody all the time with the Sky Piercer, man. You get so much base damage already with the Brody. You technically already have an execute mechanic in your kit. On top of that, now Sky Piercer, so you can execute some of these members even harder. And the fact that Malaysia have shown the Moskov so early on, it is going to be a good matchup for the Brody. But there you go, that's an Aurora for Stormy, a signature pick for the man, though it may look kind of, weird. Stormy plays this a whole lot in MPL Malaysia.
And it can be a great pick to really punish the clumping up. If Indonesia carelessly walk into a diversion, an Aurora can absolutely punish everyone. And it's a great way to really follow up on potentially something like a big wild charge or a penalty zone. So definitely looks weird, but it's still kind of legit. For Indonesia though, you're seeing more flexibility in how they want to take these fights. They can go for longer fights, but they can also go for something a big pick-off. And in team fights, not really a lot of combos, but they do have a lot of crowd control and AoE. So they can hold their own here, depending on how the fights really do start, get started. As they pick up an Exborg as well, more damage, a great solution to the Terizla as well.
Okay, so the Exborg going to be going to XP, and it seems for the Edith, it should be, on the hands of Keyboy. There we go. We get to see the swaps as well as we get ready to jump into the Land of Dawn. But Arashi, you're the analyst here. I gotta ask you, based on the draft, what do you think, especially after the patch changes, right? Do you think Indonesia have adjusted to the patch better, or do you think that Roger Jungle is going to be too much for Indonesia?
I think, honestly, Roger Jungle is... it works differently now due to the changes. They can eventually recover and adapt. So I gotta kind of favor them in my predictions here, Indonesia.
All right. Seems we're just gonna jump straight into game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia takes on Malaysia. Type in the live chat right now who you guys think is gonna win. Hashtag Indonesia win or Malaysia win in the comment section down below as we get to see the jungle. Albert versus Skies, Roger versus Fredrin. Also, Temporal Rain for Albert. Whoa, interesting. The new emblem on the Fredrin. We don't get to see this a lot, by the way.
Temporal Rain. Having a shorter, like a cooldown reduction effect on your skills when you use your ultimate. I guess he's intending to spam it out while farming in the jungle. Fredrins do that, but we'll have to see how effective this is because it takes away from some of his combat potential, especially pre-level 4. But Keyboy, as you can see, already diligently protecting the jungle, making sure that so far no real big plays are happening. But especially with the low Yi, I expect Indonesia to really start ramping up the aggression, particularly right now.
And I love the fact that right now, oh, that's an onward by Keyboy, just doing some damage over to Yums there, poking him down. But I like the fact that a lot of the fighters in the XP lane, they're just going for Impure Rage now over the Brave Smite. I think it's because of the change to the War Axe. Now you technically have the Bloodlust Axe built in already, so you already get the sustain from the War Axe, right? So you can just go for even more sustain with the Impure Rage if you don't have mana, but if you have mana, then you can just stay in lane a lot more while also using your abilities to get the War Axe sustain off.
The sustain coming in from the War Axe makes that item, in the same way the Glowing Wand is just so valuable right now for the mid lane, that War Axe now is just so good. I was expecting a lot more fighters to show up, but Lutpi now getting focused down by Stormy who rotates, but now you can see the follow-up coming in, and whoever clears the way faster here will get level 4, and that will be Malaysia for now. But you can see that for both teams, they're taking this very slow. They don't want to be the first main aggressor to get punished. But here now, the big value from Indonesia really shows the fact that their jungler is a fighter that can't be zoned as easily. But look at this, Stormy.
Stormy goes up for stun. Good purify from Sans. Getting out of it now as Yums cannot go for the wild charge. Not just yet. Is still level 3. Hovering over, but finally gets level 4. As Keyboy now looks for a wild charge and Afflictor combo into the back with the penalty zone as well. And lock Lippy down. But Keyboy does the same with the Earth Shatter and the onward. As that's going to be the Praisers Rapid. Gorgeous wins out the retry battle. It's not the jungler. It's the XP laner. Gorgeous though will fall and Yums will be forced back. It's a 1-for-1 trade and Keyboy wants to make it 2-for-1. But in the end, it's a win for Team Malaysia early.
Wow, it's just how we expected, man. Indonesia and Malaysia, there is always going to be fireworks, gonna be chaos. At first total take, usually we see something a bit more disciplined for these rosters, but when it comes down to it, it was just an all-out brawl. And like you mentioned,
Wow.
Miracle CW with the sky-piercing abuse coming in.
That's an SPA right there. CW, he's just like me, you know, he loves to abuse that Skype here, so we got a replay.
That's this turtle fight right here where Malaysia just barreled through and they're kind of holding back Indonesia. And in the midst of everything, Gojes, out of everyone, was the one to secure that turtle. So small win for Malaysia, but overall, it's still a very, very slow game. But Malaysia is doing a great job just staving off the aggression and the level 2 power spike technically from the Lo Yi. So we're gonna have to wait a bit longer to see some kind of big play, but Gojes getting roasted here in the lane.
Yeah, forced to recall now as Litpi gets so much more space to pick up the turret shield. And he'll actually just be going for both. He's letting the minion waves go for the turret shield, getting him down. Now in the mid lane, it's going to be Keyboy frozen up, and that should be the kill for Skies as he's able to deal with Keyboy just through that stun. And also a Spear of Destruction that's going to be used up just for the damage. He won't teleport there, he'll just stay in lane.
Great play here for Malaysia, picking up a kill. But on the bottom side, you can see the rotations coming in. They're trying to make sure they get as much advantage as possible, especially when they have control over the map before the diversions coming in from Indonesia will start to be an issue. You can see that they respect the potential of gangs as well, because Lolio with the Purify is going to be a lot more difficult to really pick off, even though CW is on the Brody that can facilitate some of these gangs.
Okay, set up for the second turtle now. Litpi doing the same thing he's been doing to Gojes up top, just roasting him down. But Skies is rotating up top, trying to deal with the Faraga armor. Actually jumps in as the War Axe gets completed by Gojes. Keyboy with Earth Shatter, going to zone Stormy away from this turtle. But look at the barrier there placed down. Albert won't be able to take full aggro on it. Gojes gets taunted up, goes in for the penalty zone, connects on the Litpi. They're actually battle, and it's not going to be any of the junglers winning it out. Look at this! Look at the damage coming from Stormy and the CC, as that's going to be him taken down. But Stormy now running away with the passive. Gojes flickering forward to find Litpi as Keyboy deals with Skies in the Primal Wrath, and CW rotates from the bottom lane, but will give out so much more prio in the bot towards Lolio. Spear of Destruction connecting on the CW as Yums gets taken very low, but is still able to survive, and Lolio decides to go in. That's a stun on the CW, and now with the Lycan bounce, they're able to get the kill. CW force back, and Sans is able to get a few more of these trades on, but in the end, it's an all-out win for Malaysia.
What a great play for Malaysia there. They were able to focus down the targets even more efficiently than Indonesia and still get the global presence play. And look at that though, fight still breaking out all over the place. Lolio coming in with the Spear of Destruction earlier was just an absolute win. He knows his team was still in the fight, was still having the advantage. He joins in and just shuts down CW in that fight as well. And just off screen there, Yums was able to find yet another kill. So it was the turtle taken away, it was the bottom turret taken as well. Malaysia here is pushing on the pace on Indonesia.
Doing a great job so far. Look at the goalie, 2,000 almost to the hands of Malaysia on this composition that honestly, yes, can snowball as well. But you would think, especially with the Moskov, that they would actually wait a bit longer to get you know, that power spike, right? And the Moskov, yeah, it hasn't hit his power spike, not just yet, it's just a corrosion scythe.
I think it's just a great play by them to just use the early game power spike. You can see a Sky Piercer completed for Skies as well on the Roger. So a bit of that execute threat for the members of Indonesia. And as we mentioned, Gojes with the War Axe, he was already doing so much damage, being so tanky early on. And right there, steal attempt as Albert tries to retaliate.
Good wild charge to escape. Albert now jumping forward. That's Razor's Wrath dealing a whole lot of damage to Stormy, but he gets frozen down. Penalty zone to lock them down, not really giving Indonesia a chance to take Stormy out. Meanwhile, all in the top lane, you can see Lolio just dealing with the minion waves, now shoving in Albert, looking for a play again onto Yums. That's going to be an onward and an Earth Shatter combo to take him out, and Indonesia finally get a trade that's worthwhile, but it's not going to be worthwhile for long. That's a turret traded up top for the kill on the roamer.
This is just Malaysia using this macro plan so well. The fact that they can send a gold laner to just keep farming again and again and join these fights from so far away is giving them so much more space. And as a result, you can see that Indonesia, they do have damage, but they're struggling to lock down and find pickups, because even the roamer that's supposed to open up the map for the side of Malaysia, it's a Grok that's just so difficult to really lock down. Diversion though from Indonesia, can it pay off?
Yeah, straight into the bottom lane they go. They tried to just get that position, and they will be able to get that over Malaysia. They set up for the turtle again. That's going to be an onward. And the Earth Shatter locking Yums down as Lutpi deals with that damage. Oh my god, the dispersion and the rotation almost takes Yums down. Lutpi will be able to burn him down to the ground. And that should be a free turtle over to Indonesia. As Malaysia just look to trade on the other side of the map. Moscow still just farming.
It's a great play for Indonesia to just decisively go for it. And if Malaysia obliges, they seem to be in position to go for a fight. But knowing that Loliel is usually a bit further away. Penalty zone though from Gorgeous.
Yeah, with the Flicker comboed in together. Now when Spirit Destruction goes in as well, Gorgeous might be caught in the Sword of Our Memory as they go for the diversion. And Stormy committed the Flicker as she used the ultimate too, trying to catch some of these members. Indonesia able to bait out some big resources.
The diversion set up inside the bush. Crafty stuff here from Indonesia, but their troubles are still around. They haven't been able to use a lot of these diversion plays because they don't have control over the map overall. Just because Yums has been aggressively contesting vision and information, and Keyboy on the Iesf is just not as mobile. Not a lot of ways for him to really escape from a full-on chase. So he's just forced to play a bit more conservatively. And right now, though, you're seeing that possibly the top lane turret might fall right there. Lutpi is one of the only members that can just keep pushing while having a guaranteed way out from a surprise gank from Malaysia.
And so far, no turrets have been taken down by Indonesia. It's still an equal game based on gold, but Malaysia definitely have much more of an advantage coming into the 9th minute of the game. Albert dashing forward, catching Stormy now with the taunt as well. Keyboy going to be able to isolate him with the onward, and the Earth Shatter is timed to perfection. Just to that passive, as now Stormy has been picked off. Yums in the mid lane, tries to walk up, and now gets dispersed, rotated as well, forced to flicker out, and now they're looking to go for this turret in the mid lane. Penalty zone, lock them down, diversion to escape once again, and Indonesia only one member decides to take it, and it's Keyboy to go and take and those resources, those minion waves that have been shoved in by Loliel in the bottom lane.
And that's what you've been seeing from Indonesia, man. They're using these diversions to really match the macro play from Malaysia, not really to initiate their own pickoffs. Sans here, though, getting caught by Skies.
Yeah, feeling a bit of damage, but Lutpi is able to fend for Sans.
Great play for Malaysia there. Just going for these flanks, knowing that they have control. That is what Indonesia, ironically, need to do as well. When they're able to locate Stormy in the middle of those fights, I think they have to try and do that, unless they want to just go for a fight and allow Stormy to just keep pumping out this damage. That's the mage presence we've been talking about just earlier. With the Lord spawning, though, we already talked about the damage, the extra damage that it does now. You can see that Indonesia are very calm about this, though. Still going around, still waiting around because they know they have a diversion play available. Take a look at the items. Queen's Wings rush for Lutpi to try and be a bit more relevant, but Albert gets jumped on.
Yeah, they go for the diversion now, but Albert is going to be taken down. The Frigid Glacier as well as the onward from Keyboy gets into the Frigid Glacier. Yums will be taken down by that sky-piercing damage of CW as the Primal Wrath gets used up by Keyboy. Now trying to steal some damage on the Gorgeous, and the Torn Apart Memory gets rid of him. That's going to be a stun on the Skies, but now with the Lycan Pound, CW will be shut down as Keyboy flickers forward, but is unable to find anyone, and now uses the onward just to disengage. It's a 2 for 2, but it's in favor of Malaysia. Both or all three of their damage dealers are still alive.
All damage dealers alive, but they have no front line. They'll be forced to play a bit more conservatively right here, but no, never mind. They go for Lutpi, but he does have the Firaga. He might get taken out, though. Whew.
No, he gets out with the flicker. Almost taken out. Yeah, Loliel is definitely pushing the pace now. And I think at the 11th minute, he already has his power spike as they go straight for the Lord now. Indonesia, they need to try to contest this right now. The goal lead is still 50-50. Stormy, oh, Frigid Glacier going to be baited out. And that's going to be the knockout from the Lord, revealing Yums. Keyboy with the Earth Shatter, not really going to be using flicker. Wild charge into the back, catching Albert to stop any sort of retreat play from happening. Keyboy with the onward and the Earth Shatter, and Calvin Winata, CW, will be able to pick Gorgeous up. It's a 1-for-1, a kill for a Lord.
Definitely still value for Malaysia, though. And immediately, everyone scrambles into position to try and manage the minion waves. That was a great play for them to just go straight at it, knowing that they have the crowd control advantage. But they have to be a bit more wary now, especially if they want to go for a prolonged team fight. Because we saw in the two fights, the fight before the Lord was taken there, Keyboy on the Iesf now is doing quite a significant amount of damage. So you can see Loliel early getting dueled by him. They have to be a bit more careful on the positioning and who takes what damage. But look at this wild charge.
Good wall charge to catch CW, and a diversion does get them up top now as the Spirit of Destruction is in the bottom lane. Lolio will be able to rotate over, but look at that. Keyboy gets isolated completely from the team. The team has basically left him all alone in the bottom lane, and it's going to be Malaysia with the capitalization. Lutpi still kiting away from this Lord as Sans deals some damage back on the Lord. Ooh. And now it's going to be Stormy with the flicker forward, catching CW with the Frigid Glacier, and Skies looks for it, but now Skies will be outplayed with a stun by CW as he buys the Rose Gold Meteor, and Indonesia will still be able to defend. Not even a tier 2 in the mid lane falling just yet.
That was a respectable outplay attempt though by Diversion. Now going on to Lolio.
Going for the fight again. Penalty zone catching 2, and CW is going to be compromised. Now with a wild charge 2, it's going to be Sans and CW locked down, but Sans get a bit of that damage. The Spirit of Destruction connects, and Calvin Winata will be taken now. Lutpi still roasting in the back as Albert gets slain. Lolio is going crazy with a double kill now as he's looking for Lutpi. One more Abyss Walker to the front, but now the last Insanity gets rid of Gorgeous and Yums to claim another few kills for Indonesia. But still, it looks like it's a win for Malaysia.
Both teams just going at it, man. Like we said, the kills are so equal, and actually the gold lead as well is starting to get equalized. Malaysia seems to be still winning, especially when it comes to the structures and the map control, but this gold has to be a concern for them now that Indonesia has a lot more spammable abilities in the late game. If they can go for a proper fight without any surprises coming in from Malaysia, it's going to be quite dangerous for them. If you take a look at damage dealt, the highest damage dealer is actually Lutpi, who is relatively ignored, so he's just flaming everyone down. But on the other side, Gorgeous, who is supposedly a frontliner, is just doing an insane amount here on this Terizla. That is definitely something that Indonesia will struggle to try and deal with, because their main damage dealer, Calvin Winata, has a bit more of a burst style of a hero, so it doesn't really shred through this Terizla as easily.
And slowly but surely, it does seem like Malaysia are outscaling Indonesia, right? Wild charge again into the penalty zone. Keyboy still going to be able to flicker out of that, and that's 2 big ultimates used up for the flicker. Who gets more value out of that trade, Arashi?
Considering that the Lord is just up right here, I think Indonesia technically has a bit more value to be taken, unless they can't really get forced to go for the Lord because of the macro play. The bottom wave getting pushed out. Diversion is available for Suns to bring CW into the fight, but we'll have to see how Indonesia wants to play this.
Okay, Lutpi in the front trying to zone them away now on that X-Borg as Suns gets the conceal of Keyboy to go back into the mid lane to clear this wave, and he will be able to do so. Athena's shield now bought up by Keyboy, so a little bit more sustainable in the skirmish as Albert. You can see that the Lord Dance is, not as good as it was before, as the Lord takes so much of your HP away. Albert is down to a quarter of his HP, and now it's Lutpi who's trying to take the turtle, or the Lord aggro. And again, so much damage already outputted by the Lord. This new change is definitely changing a few, dynamics in the game. The Lord Dance is so much harder to do. Oh, Keyboy, onward, and Earth Shatter right into the Frigid Glacier. They're all going to be baited into CW. Now in the back, it's going to be Sans who gets taken down by Lolio. CW gets some damage down, but Wooden Nature will be able to save him, and Lolio gets the outplay onto CW. Lutpi's next to the chopping block. The Spirit of Destruction connects, and Lolio teleports behind him. The Faraga armor still ready. He will use it to just clear up the wave in the mid lane, but he will not be able to do so. One more cannon minion. They might be able to utilize all of this to go for the game end in game number 1. Just one cannon minion, one more hit to the cannon minion, but it'll be enough for Team Malaysia to secure game number 1.
What a performance, man. That final fight was a complete wipe from the side of Malaysia. Indonesia, unable to do anything, outplayed at every turn.